So today it's about reflections. So this is a V shape, that blue equation, that's a V shape like y, oh, are you ready to do it in blue? Y equals the absolute value of x, except it got moved to the right a little bit. Do you get how that minus 4 means I moved it to the right 4? Does that make sense to you? The V shape is right of center. It's been moved over. And if that has a reflection across the x-axis, then that means I can see through. You could think of that as the mirror right there. Maybe I should use black to stay consistent. And then it's like it sees this reflection in the mirror over here. Okay. And that is a reflection across from there to there across the y-axis. Okay. Now, how would I show you that as an equation? Well, it'd be a lot like y equals absolute value of x minus 4, but there'd be a reflection horizontally. Notice this red arrow, like that's horizontal. Horizontal is on the inside, remember high? And then V is vo for vertical on the outside. So I need a horizontal reflect, and the only thing that's especially tricky, I got to put that in parentheses. You get how that was a horizontal reflection? All right. Kennedy, can you shut that door? It's a little loud out there. Thank you. All right, here's another one. Everybody graph y equals x squared. Easy peasy. Then we'll move it. We'll see if you know which way I move it. Now, I know you know it generally looks like that, right? What if you wanted exact points? Well, you could make an XY chart, but I didn't need you to be that accurate, but you could have picked any number you wanted. But now what if I take and I move it like this, minus 3? Is it still a parabola? Yeah, but it's moved where? Say it if you know it. Right. Okay, so it's moved right 3. So now my little U shape is going to be over here. And its base, which used to be at 0, 0, is over there, 3 spots over. And when I picked numbers for this, did you catch this yesterday? That you should pick numbers that make in the middle 0. You can pick any numbers you want, but 3 is especially good because 3 will make the inside of it 0. And then what else is good? Anything by 3, like 2 or 4 is pretty close to 3. So pick things that are around that. Would everybody please put in 2 into this equation and put in 4 and see what you get here and here. My x is like an empty parenthesis. And I'm putting in 4, for example. So then that's 4 minus 3 is 1, and then 1 squared is 1. Who knew that it was 4, 1? Raise your hand if you had that one right. Okay, awesome. And then you put in 2. Hallie, would you please tell me what to do when I put in the 2 right here? Walk me through it.
2 minus 3
is negative 1, and then? Which is? Yep. And if I actually graph this, the 3, 0 was right here. The 2, 1 is right here. The 4, 1 is right here. Do you get how those are matching up with my graph? Okay. Now what if I flipped it? Well, there's 2 ways to flip it. With your hand in the air, show me which way a horizontal flip would go. Yep, this way. Okay, goes across. Horizontal goes across. Okay, so if I flipped it, do you get that this U shape would have to go over there? And it would look like that. Does that make sense to you? Okay, that's a horizontal reflect. What if instead I put the negative on the outside? You'd go, oh, that's a vertical on the outside. And use your hand and show me what that does. All right, I like the people that are like flipping it upside down like this. Yep. Okay, so then it's like this. That is a vertical reflect. Okay. So to sum it all up, here is a typical test question for you. They say y equals negative square root of x plus 4. And then they say, what changes were made to the parent function? Well, it moved this way. What's that? Is that 4 to the left is correct. 4 to the left. It's kind of counterintuitive in there. It's the opposite of what you would think. And then I know you know it's a reflect, but what kind of reflect? Reflect.
To the right.
All right. Well, there's two kinds. I'm going to make you think about high vo. And if you think about that right, you'll be able to tell me if it's a horizontal or a vertical reflect. That reflect there, it's either a high or it's a vo. How many of you knew I meant vo? Good. It's a vertical on the outside. So therefore, it's a vertical reflect. There's only two kinds. There's horizontal reflects and vertical reflects. Okay. All right. So if somebody jumps up and down, that's considered their vertical. Like I was a basketball player back in the day, and Michael Jordan was amazing back in my day, and we'd watch him on TV and be like, "Oh my gosh, that guy's an insane vertical." It's because he would jump in the air vertically, right? And nobody like brags about how big their horizontal leap is. Although if you're a long jumper, you know, they run really fast and then they jump and they try to stay in the air as long as they can. They care about their horizontal leap. But most people in basketball are not so impressed with horizontal. They think vertical is cool. Okay, so vertical's up and down, like a basketball player jumping up and down. And so this is a vertical reflect. I'd like you to take a second and just sketch. You don't have to make XY part chart. Just take a sketch of what you think that looks like. You know that the normal one looks like this. So where did it go? And what did it do? So make an XY axis and just sketch what you think it looks like. And I want you to turn it my way, and I'll tell you if you did it right. I'll be pointing to him going, yep, that's right. You flipped the wrong way. You did one of the two things wrong. Thank you for trying, though. So far, only 1 out of 3 people got it. I'm double checking. I'm checking my perception of reality here because a lot of people are getting it wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Okay, it goes 4 to the left, and then it gets vertically reflected. So look at your graph and see, did you go 4 to the left and then flip it vertically? That's what I'm looking for. Where's final answer? You didn't go 4 to the left. You did the vertical flip, right? But you got to go 4 to the left. Yep. Close. You got one of them right that was not right before. You didn't move it to the left. Yes. Unless, wait a minute, maybe one of the people I just said yes to is actually a no. Yes, okay, I'll write it on the board. Ready? Would you agree, everybody can agree that this is moved to the left? Would you agree with that? The red one, I just moved it to the left. Okay, now I gotta vertically reflect it. And that looks like, final answer, I'm gonna put it in black. It looks like that. That's your final answer, that black one. Does that make sense? It was left and flipped. All right. That was pretty awful, actually. I mean, some people got it, but not many. So let's try one more like that. Y equals negative. This time we're going to do absolute value. They got shifted to the right. You know those are V-shapes, right? And I hope you know that the parent one looks like this. That's one of those little things that you just have to memorize, or you have to make a whole bunch of points and figure out where it is. And then it got shifted. Jackson, which way did it get shifted? Yep. And then it got flipped or reflected. And it's on the outside. See if you can do it. I'm gonna wait a little bit because problem is as soon as I check a couple, then everybody wants to look at theirs and like I don't want to try it themselves. So give it just a second. Everybody give it your best shot and then turn it my way and I'll tell you yes or no. Okay, give me your best shot. Yep. Uh-huh. Yep. I'm turning my way so I can see. Yup. Yup, I'm getting lots of right this time. Yes, 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 yes. Okay, cool. Yes, yes. Everybody got this one. Okay, and that was, here's first, I go to the right, and then I gotta make it upside down, so I'll make my final answer green. That make sense? Okay. All right, now what if you had to get exact points? Let's do that just real quick with an XY chart. Now, I told you before, don't just pick any number you want. You can, but don't. Instead, pick x's that are near making this 0. So what's a good starting x? 4. And then pick things that are near 4, like 3 and 2, maybe 5 and 6. Because if 4 is the good number to pick, because it makes the middle 0, which it is a good number to pick, then pick things that are near it. Maybe 3 and 2, and maybe 5 and 6. I'd like you to do 5 points. Hint, all of the y's come out negative because of that negative that's outside the absolute value. So again, if this was a test, they could ask you 3 things. They could say graph it. They could say what was done to it. And you'd say, oh, move to the right. And it vertically, on the outside, at a reflect. Vertical reflect, and to the right 4. And here are some points. When you put in 4, you got 0. Raise your hand if you had 4, 0. Good. Stella, walk me through doing a point. What point do you want to do? Okay, let's do 6. So we'll put the 6 there. And walk me through, what do you get when you put in that 6 there? What's this?
2.
Yep, and then the absolute value of 2 is?
-2.
Final answer after you have the negative there is -2. So the absolute value doesn't change it, but then the negative on the outside makes it -2. So 6 is -2, you were correct. All right, now Jack, would you please put in 5 for me and talk me through it? If I put a 5 right here. Yep, absolute value 1. Make it negative. Who had 5, -1 on their paper? Okay, good. You're doing it right. And if I put in 3, it would be -1 also. And then if I put in 2, it would be -2. And the reason they all came out negative, except for the 0 one, was there was a negative on the outside. And it takes the absolute values, which would have all been positive, and the negative goes in at the end and makes them all negative. Then if you actually graphed these, big surprise, they would end up being right on this green V. And that's why it all makes sense. To me, anyways. Okay. Whew. I feel like you got this. Here's the thing you were shakiest on, vertical and horizontal. So what kind of changes does this have? And you got to use the words left, right, up, down, vertical, and horizontal. Okay? Oh, and the word reflect. Does it go left or right? Does it go up or down? Does it do a vertical or a horizontal reflect? Yeah. Okay. Did you know that it was left 7? Raise your hand if you had that part right. Okay, good. Great. Now I get to go out there. Number 2 is +8, which is up 8. And the third thing, oh wait, I'm kind of implying order. This is not necessarily the order you should do it in, but there are 3 things. And the third thing is this, which is a vertical, because it's on the outside. So vertical reflect. Now, this is a good point. Which should be first, second, and third? Well, my advice to you is that generally it follows PEMDAS, which is parentheses are first. So do you get this as kind of like a parenthesis? I know it's not a parenthesis, but it's a grouping symbol. And so that should be first. And the second thing you do is this multiply by 1 out here, because that negative isn't just dangling out there, it's actually a -1 being multiplied. So then technically your reflect should have been the second thing. And then the third thing is the last thing, which is up 8. Okay, so number 1 is left 7. Number 2 was vertical reflect. And number 3 would have been up 8. Because multiply comes before add and subtract. Okay. I feel like you got this. So that's 15 minutes. It's pretty quick, but I feel like you got it. And this is, we had talked about reflections before, so this wasn't like completely new to you. So now your homework is going to be, we'll start it before we head off to lunch. Today's a weird scheduled day, so just to be clear, lunch will start at 1:03 and we'll be done at 1:33, and then you come back for the second half of class. So basically you got about 10 minutes before lunch. Let's get this thing started. And that's all I have for the video for today. So